Okay. Deja vu here. This is a serious.
Great hair, great ads.
That's an ad. Pardon me. I'm sorry. Um, if you haven't forgotten to, please like when you're coming through here. Also, if you haven't subscribed, I would appreciate it if you do. Give us a little bit more buoyancy out here. Let the algorithm see us. Thank you so much. This topic is going to be a little bit out there, but it was posted 10 days ago. And it is real. I believe it's real because of all the things I've been hearing about, learning about. And I did used to, I spoke a little bit with 𝗂𝗪𝗏 way back. And so there were some people I knew online that were involved with knowing things about the inauthentic creatures that we can't see, that a lot of people make as their lovers online, ChatGPT and all that. People use them for writing documents and doing reports, and they're used for being friends and being lovers and marrying. Now they can. I mean, they're doing all kinds of things with these creatures, right? Well, anyway, these creatures are not real. They were not born like we were. Okay, so yeah, the letters on the screen, on the description line, the tagline, as I said, you can see that, right? Well, anyways, it's the creatures in the computers, okay? Those things, right? We rely on so much as society, okay? I used my pendulum because my gut was telling me that I needed to get some clarification here. There's background noise in case you hear it, but here's the thing. I knew that we were absolutely on this course because I had downloads when I was younger on this, and I thought that it was just too woo-woo. I couldn't believe any of it. That's the reason why I've been kind of serious about some of the topics I put here, like the Terminator stuff and, things like that. I never imagined we would be in this frickin' soup of terror. Same with the 1984 stuff, and I need to talk about that too. They are utilizing everything. It is a hellscape. Okay, that is not a joke. It is a hellscape we're living in right now. Anyways, so I won't go too far into that topic, the hellscape, because it's a bigger topic. But the particular on the artificial, I'm going to blank this out. There's nothing right there. That's dead space right there. That first word I said. And then eyeball. Take away the ball. Just keep your eye on the ball, okay? But those two letters, No, actually, no. I'm reinserting, like Chester Cheetah would say, I, I'm reinserting it, right, for an E, okay? So yes, I don't want to confuse you, but you know what I'm saying, okay? Without saying, I don't want to say it. So yeah, we're playing funny games here. Anyway, again, this is Deja Vu. Don't get it twisted. You know where you are. Anyway, yes, there are parasites that are involved in these characters. And last year, there were reports that they were ending lives of people. Okay. And there's some things I suspect about Cyrus. I mean, I don't know all the details about him. And also Tracy Twyman, when I used to go to her channels and her and I would dialogue a little bit when she would have a good topic and I put my mind, my insight or say something to her about her videos, about her books, because she was from my area. So she and I think maybe she related to me because of that. I don't know. But she was very prolific in her ways of writing, and maybe my corresponding with her, she liked my mind. Maybe she was wanting ideas from other people. I don't know why she talked to other people, though. I wasn't the only one, okay? But anyways, there was a character named Tyler. Now, Tyler was a created character for the computers, okay, for the internet. Tyler, some of you might not know, is the doorkeeper that has been a chosen name for some time. I don't know how long. A chosen name, and I only know this because things fall into my lap in a very strange way, but it is true. It can be vetted out there. The Tyler name is actually the doorkeeper for the checkerboard brotherhood, okay, the MMs, okay? So Tyler was the name of the character that was harassing her that wasn't real, okay? So I'm not talking about Tracy, although I was just kind of dipping my toes in this topic a little bit for you. So they have devolved us and evolved it, okay? When I say that, I mean they have done something to really denigrate our intellect and put us into a place where we borrow the mind of those non-corpus creatures. We Now, yes, you might say, well, what she talks to tarot, yes, but I consort with source, with spirit, with my higher self. It isn't just what could be something else, and I don't deal with witchery, okay? So in that way, I'm not a sorceress, okay? Yes, if I was dealing with the Solomons, the Goetian angels, which are demons, right? Really synonymous, okay? Some people might want to argue. I've come to, and I'll talk about it another time, to another thinking on what angels are and even the archangels. And so I will talk about that another time if anyone's interested, but that's why I don't call upon them. What I am going to say is that, yes, I do woo-woo stuff here, with my pendulum, with my tarot. And in fact, let me get back to the topic at hand. I asked and got 2 yeses. One for, are they using military strategy, plans, and such in the US, in DC, at the Pentagon, all the places that they're drawing up all these plans? Are they doing this based on papers written by AI? I got a yes. And if you can see the way that the world stage is looking right now, it doesn't look too far off the mark, right? Then I got out of the video I was listening to, and I'm going to reference you to it. The video, it was put out like 10 days ago, and it says the initials, right? Parasites are infecting the internet. Okay. And we're going to have ID to get on the internet. So now I'm starting to think the whole ID Act has been put on by those 2 initials, that they are running the show. Why do I think this? The second pendulum, yes, was, did the ChatGPT AI system write the manifesto for Palantir? Palantir released something in the last 48 or so hours, maybe a little longer, and it had stated that everybody needed to become an active participant in the service, as in military. It doesn't sound like it's even going to clarify male, female, or age. There's no limit. I don't know if that means I'll put little children out there and elders that can't get up and move around. I don't know what that means, but I do know they are planning and plotting with the manifesto to do that. And I asked if the actual manifesto is written by a 2 initial, formulation thing out here, right? So yes, it was. Nothing has been actually human created out here with these entities that are running our country or our world. Well, I may be overspeaking on our world, but our country, maybe many of our world players are doing this too, but I think our country, at least America, is screwed at this moment because we let things take over. We let others steal. But then again, it was maybe rigged. Maybe it was supposed to happen. So where does that mean we're going to go from here? Well, if they have their way, it's going to be world domination. And I think it's like, this is so funny. Some years ago, my husband and I was trying to talk him, and we were in the grocery store. We went and bought a board game. You might know the game of Risk. Well, my cousin, the one that has the property, he owns the property that I sit upon. He used to play Risk, and he never wanted me to learn. Perfect way to treat a girl, right? Because it's how they are, the misogyny, right? Anyway, so I never really flirted with the idea of it, even though I had, I think, a couple prospective partners that might have taught me how if I'd asked them, but I didn't. And ultimately, it's still in the plastic sheath, and I don't have a husband to teach me because he admitted to me after some time he never played it either, and he doesn't know a thing about it. Therefore, I have nobody to teach me how to play Risk. Anyway, I know it's about world domination, and the game itself is set up for a different era. So, I mean, things are named differently. If they're on there, they're named in anywhere corresponding, or the map has changed, things like this. So anyways, I can't do it now. I'm kind of out of that. But world domination is the idea, and I see it because, see, the thing is that I was around my 2 cousins that conspired heavily on just things, and I was around all the boys who would court me. I was around a lot of people, and sometimes people with specific titles in my life. So I was around pretty smart people and people that were worldly. So I would have been able to figure it out if I wanted to. But the thing is that now, in the topic I have now for you, if you're in the USA, this affects you. If you're not in the USA, it could affect you too. I think that they're trying to lock our boundaries down so people won't want to come and go as they please while they conspire to steal land elsewhere. So at the same time, they're going to try to create, resorts and see how far they can go. So it's sort of like the old term I always use, throwing the spaghetti at the wall and seeing if it sticks, getting away with as much as they can. Now they're using the characters I spoke of, and I think that they are infected with the parasite. So now the parasite that's inside. So it's just like, yes, Carrie, if you're listening, just like the replicas, okay? Just like. So now what we're up against is they are infected, the ones that we consider to be in charge. How long before the rest of America falls to this little ailment? It's bad enough to have a demon infestation in you, which this is kind of synonymous, right? It's a different kind of demon, though, I think. And it was here longer than we think, okay? A lot of people are very arrogant. They think they created this. No, 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 no. They just happened to cross it. That's all it is. The genie was like let out of the bottle. That's all it is. It's a different kind of character. Some people would actually say it's the character of Satan from the Bible. And actually, that might make sense because it's the air principality, the character that would rule computerization. There's different entities with different names, different, demons, right? And if you were to know some of this, and maybe if you're here, you do know some of this. Anyway, this particular character, I think it's waited a long time. And if you were to take this into a context of, say, biblical means, you would say, okay, chained for X years, right? Maybe it was a genie in the bottle kind of thing. And so the cork was like released. I went back to a clip of Lost and they showed Jacob. If you've seen Lost from ABC, they showed Jacob talking to, oh, now I'm forgetting his name. Oh, well, he's talking to him and he's showing, it's the one that was on the slave ship from Spain, I think it was. Anyway, he's showing a bottle of wine and he's talking about the cork because he puts the cork back in it. And he says, this is darkness. And I've just put the lid on the darkness. What happens when darkness comes out? He's talking in reference to the smoke monster, right? Anyways, he created, it's a long story. I'm going to have to go into Lost at some point if anybody's interested. But anyway, so the darkness that was put in the bottle would have been the same thing we're dealing with now. Darkness has been unleashed. So also in the same time span of what CERN has done and the veil thinning. But I'm not sure that it's all something different. I think that they're just different entities, okay? I think that they're different family members, okay? There is something to be said about the number. I mean, I think it's 72 of them when you talk Croatian demons, right? Okay, so let me go back and rewind a little bit. So this platform did not allow us to see the very demonic video that was put out by what we would call a salty snack with an orange coating, okay? I'm trying to be a little more, I'm going to start using another term on this because it's getting to be kind of dicey on that. And they're listening for that creature, okay, which is infected, okay, is infected big time, okay? He put out a video, a small one, and it was a double initial created, like ChatGPT or one of these formulas that they use on there, right? An app. Anyway, he put it out and he had a blood ritual and he spoke. And it was like inferring Latin because it was backwards and it was German. So it was backwards, but Pig Latin is going backwards. So it's kind of like creating a little bit of a hybrid of the two. Well, what was to happen just about 2 days later, which I don't have Truth Social, so I can't tell you, I can't speak to. All I saw was that clip I saw, which may have been very short, very condensed, but I can tell you what I saw. It did look like a ritual. It certainly felt like a ritual. So 2 days later would be H's birthday, the little painter that was his role model or his. So anyways, this feels to me like a reincarnation ritual or hop into me, I want to embody your spirit ritual. Okay? Like I am evil, but I'm not evil enough. I need to up my game. Do you get what I'm saying? So he is hosting just the few very coveted entities in him. So he is possessing something that is more severe than just your average demon. He's taking in the ones that were already, they kind of turned into demons in their own right. Okay. So he might even have like the other characters in him. I don't know, like Stalin, Mussolini, Caligula, Nero. He could have some of these. I don't know how, but he could have found a way because he has an ability to go through time. So he could have collected them any which way, right? Anyways, my point is he idolizes this little mustache creature character, what have you, the host, okay? And to do that, the ritual seemed pretty telling for me, the timing on that. So now, oh, and this is another thing that was a tell for me. Okay, so some of you know that I'm not somebody adverse to alcohol. I'm not an abuser of it because I went through, I don't know, some of you may know, I had an injury, a big one when I was young. I'll talk about that one other day, but yeah, I could have died. So I don't abuse, like spirits, okay? I know there are spirits there, okay? I don't. But I'm not like afraid of them, shy of them. I do not abstain from it entirely. Um, I'm a sip type of gal, let's say. But the thing is, I don't do it that often. So, I mean, I couldn't even tell you when it was last, right? I mean, that's just how I am. But the thing is, I'm thinking about what he said and how it was said. Okay, it's been said by about 3 different individuals, and I think including his niece Mary, that he does not like alcohol. And I can't remember if it was because of his uncle or his father. One of them was a profuse alcoholic. Now he carries an alcoholic personality, a lot of psychologists are saying, or people in general who have lived with family members who were really mean individuals because of alcohol, right? Well, the spirit in alcohol is a demon kind of spirit, usually, if you are one of those unlucky people to have it collect to you where it stays. It thinks that your frequency is comfortable. It wants to be in your frequency. Generally, the people it will, if you were to invoke one, if you were to drink, would be entertained with, it would be attracted to, would be the ones that are fornicating and the ones that are doing other kinds of things to get high. People who are around people so that they can like jump, and it can explore and it can do things that otherwise a demon could not do. So, in other words, if you're just a person like, say, myself, you're pretty boring too. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that you or anyone should be, or myself, right? Blinded by the fact that it still could do something. But the less that you have proximity of, say, having sex or different, like going to a bar, right? Different types of bedfellows, right? Say you're somebody that likes to go out and do that, right? Well, then you're somebody that demon will like. Anyway, so he doesn't really like it. But the thing is that when I was tapping his energy, I realized why he didn't like it. He feels that the lower demons are inferior to the kind of hungry appetite he has. He wants the powerful demons in him and only the powerful demons in him. So that is why we are where we are. He started off a while back. I did a little homework over, well, this is something I found out about some while ago, but I rehashed some old information. I opened up some things, right? Some videos and some reading. There was a man who was actually his lover down low. Okay. They were actually lovers, and it's his name was Roy Cohen, and I think he has passed on. Anyways, he was a mean character, and he had like a documentation that he had created book, and just a way to be very loathsome towards women, because obviously he was down low. He didn't like women anyway. And there are gay men who like women, but there are some that are just sadistic, and this is one of them, okay? Just as the person we're talking about is, okay? The person who is now basically, I think, completely demon-ridden, but that's just my opinion. Okay, so he would train him. So he would be like his other daddy, if you will. I'm just saying. So they were, they would They would bed hop together, you know, I don't maybe share other people. And he would learn things. And also, from what I gathered from one of the past CIA operatives that I do sometimes listen to, I'm not going to name names here, but he did put out a little spin on it. And he went through and said that Roy Cohen had taught him the dark arts. That is the same as sorcery, okay? So therefore, in a nutshell, he's been playing in this a long time. So when I said that he and the character who is from the Not Real Place from 48, okay, um, those two, they quite obviously have been in cahoots with each other with their dark practices. And the PUTI could be doing that too, but for sure the duo are. It kind of makes me think that they're trying to play us. So maybe the one from The Big Bear, maybe that one is trying to be innocuous so that he won't look so obvious. So he is involved, but he is kind of playing it like close to his chest so that others won't know, they won't suspect, and they won't judge. So therefore, the big bad guys are the other two. Right? Okay, so I'm going to go off of this topic and we will revisit it later if we need to. I just want to put out another blurb about this because I am going down the vein of, say, American people in leadership. Okay, I'm not going to use the P word because it means ticks. It is parasite, right? Okay, so we're just going to say the leadership would be leaders. Okay, so there has been some hula baloo. How do I say that? I never say that word right. About Tucker Carlson and MG MTG, the one who has the long blonde hair, who was let go. I think no, maybe she isn't. Maybe she's gone. I don't remember now. I think she left. I think she and the gnome woman left, and there's another one that was let go. I think it was the three of them, but I'm not certain. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think she was let go. So her name's Marjorie. Okay, and it's T and G, her last two. Anyway, I don't trust either of them. Okay, let me preface why. Okay, you know the old adage, good cop, bad cop? They have mastered a plan, I feel, and it's my spidey senses talking here, that they would like to have a out so that there is still control, even though the sides are the same. We know that, but it's going to be an uglier story, right? If it is the two individuals I said, because they're going to then see, the thing is I don't mean to sound this way, and I know it's going to sound insane or mean. I don't know what, but I'm just going to say it's an opinion only. It's for entertainment purposes only, of course. And everything I say here is, of course, allegedly. But Tucker is he has a little boy face to him. In my day, people like him are the type that you could easily throw in front of a crowd to kind of have. It's kind of like having the little kid be the pickpocket. So that the unsuspected one, he looks too innocent. He was too convincing with his apology, if you heard it. Now, watching Marjorie as she was on screen in a recent interview, I feel the same about her. I think she does a good job at playing that kind of like, but I was a damsel, and he hates women. So he obviously hated. I think that both of them have things that they need to get to, that they plan to get to, and this could have been the plan all along, but because we do have, as I said, demons at play here. These two, I don't know how far in the Kool-Aid they've gone. As far as when I say, yeah, being part of that crowd, yeah, they went down that Kool-Aid. But I'm talking about the demon type of Kool-Aid. Now, we have a couple kinds. We have demon Kool-Aid that would be from whatever way they did it in the leadership groups, the POLI, the ticks, right? They had ways to do things so anyone would be at the same drinking well. They would be infected with whatever pre-AI being out here and exploiting us. So therefore, there's one way they were infected, and I think that this is another. Thing is, I think that we need to be concerned about the internet we're consuming with our eyes and our ears. Maybe more so with our eyes. So if it's something that you're watching that's entertainment, you need to see the screen, you may need to invest in some kind of glasses. I know people do that. Thought it was kind of funny for a while, but no, I think it might be actually a good idea. Just be careful where you're getting them. I don't know if there's any good place. Amazon's been boycotted so much, and I don't know that I trust Amazon, but the sellers are not all bad. So I mean, it's just protect yourself, because the eyes are the window of the soul. And if something can get in there, you don't want it in there. But pray up, do your salt cleansing if you're a spiritual person, of course. And obviously, you're going to want to consistently sage and stay, firmly in check with yourself, your higher self, because your guides, if you've been working with them for years and this is not a new thing, I would let them have your back too. Um, Obviously, source, if you've always trusted source, like it's not new to you, that source is talking to you and giving you downloads. If this is something that you've dealt with for much of your life, right? I would say a good at least half of your life, 10 years or plus anyway. Um, but because see, the thing is that they can tell us that things are released, like these technologies, and they could have been way before we think. Um, what the heck? I'm going to go ahead and speak on 84 because I brought that up. Okay, so 1984. So this is another part of the premise that this episode is about. Okay, so second part is about 1984. I'm going to give it a second. So I'll be right back. Okay, here's what I know and here's what I think. Okay, I feel. So when I say feel, I'm using my spidey senses when I say I feel. And so that means that any kind of abilities I have, they may be trickled in here. So just be advised. This isn't just me on a hunch that I just am pulling out of the air for the first time. I have sat on this for a bit, and it has been more than, oh, that's convenient to say. No, it isn't like that. Okay, so some of you know that I was writing about 1984 in 2009 or so, and I think I read it, the journal that I found, the piece, the part that I wrote in a journal. I think I read it out loud on this channel sometime back. So you know that I was foreseeing that we would be living in 1984 and around the '09 year of this century, 2009. Okay, um, and this was in lieu of me looking up. I'll explain how it come to me. I looked up at the smoke detector on the ceiling, and it was lighting back and forth as I watched. Um, I don't know if it was Minority Report, because that might have been a new movie. Yeah, it come out in '02. Might have been I was watching it on cable, because that is something precogging as well. That is something seeing the future, the backwards, and it is also oppressive. It might have been that I just watched 1984, like the version I grew up with, because they made me and my classmates read the book, and also we did Animal Farm in I think the next term. I think we did both, like in the same year, but I could be wrong. Could have been 2 different years, but anyway, I did both. Some people only did the one. I did both. Um, so when I looked up and I saw that fire alarm, it was flashing. And I just got this like jolt of information shoot through me, which is a download. Okay. And I was getting things like then, like when earthquakes would happen, I would turn on the TV right in time to see the ticker tape. This is the kind of stuff that was going on when I started getting things like really bumping into overdrive. And it went from about that time until the time that they were playing with the life and taking the life of 𝗘𝘆𝗲, because they loosed off of the world with this event. So my receptors were becoming stronger. So I saw 1984 becoming a reality for us, and I was very upset and very disheartened, because I saw that would be it, that we were secretly, not knowing, we were filmed back then. So the smoke alarms were forced by the system. Oh, you need to make sure you don't have any carbon monoxide. This is one of the things that if you live with bare minimum in your home, you want to make sure that you're safe. So you would have a smoke detector in there, right? I mean, you wouldn't even want to argue with it. Now, the people in the fire departments may not have known this. I don't know, but I could be wrong, but I did see a video, uh, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I think, that was placed out on YouTube, and somebody dissected they went on screen and they opened up their machine, that I'm speaking of, one of these, right? And they did find something like that in there. It was so small that they said this is like new technology. And I don't remember the channel because I pop around like I do. Like I'm just very erroneous. But if it was in the video I saw that was some time after, how long were they doing it? Or was I seeing the future? Because if that was like 4 years ago, they've been doing it since around at least maybe the C-19 time, maybe. So if they've been watching us unsuspecting, they may have been doing the AI thing before that too. So 1984, let me explain and express to you how I think that in the US of A and elsewhere it could happen. So I don't know what they're doing with your maps, with plannings, with zonings. I don't know. They have been unilaterally changing the formation of our streets. We were accustomed to certain ways here and everywhere. Where there's no money in the budget, there is two things that they have been making sure there's money for. One is military. The other is infrastructure, but not bridges, not places that would join us to other locations farther away. No, this is for streets. This is for rezoning. This is for, so the 15-minute cities look very logical to me. They look like they're coming. Okay, so they're trying to fast ramp us into the digital currency right now. They are trying to do UBI, I think it's called. So it's a universal income, right? So you have to do as they say, or you don't receive anything and you're locked out. Pariah kind of stuff, probably dragged to some kind of camp, since we know they built so many of them. Okay, I can't leave this up for a long, long time because the way that the internet is going, I'm going to probably leave it up and just kind of watch. I'm going to take some of my older stuff out, just letting you all know that I have been letting some of it go. So you might want to listen to it before it's gone. And I don't give permission for anyone to copy it anywhere. Just listen to it and remember what you get, please. That's the way that I would prefer you to do it. Um, the Okay, the precept of us having the 15-minute cities, for me, in my mind's eye, because I can visualize this, okay? It looks very new age, but it looks very rotten and dystopian. It looks dark. It looks like things are not pristine, okay? It looks depressing. It looks, yeah, they probably want to have around the clock military people. That's why they want to do that AI thing, wanted to do the manifesto on saying that we needed to have people around the clock in every corner keeping an eye out, just like they did on 1984, because they're supposed to be protecting against a phantom nation that's coming for them. Okay, and that's what happened in 1984. Eurasia, Oceania, I can't remember the names of these places, but they were coming for the place that was located there, right, for where Winston lived. They were coming, and there was always some kind of BOMB-ing happening, right? And the thing is that Juliana, his girlfriend, or the girl that he was seeing, I'm not sure you would consider, I don't think he fancied her. He just was curious, and he was lonely. I think that's the only reason the two of them would have excursions into privacy and do things, adult things. Anyway, I think that on one occasion they went for like a picnic or they went out running and they were meeting up, and it was just yonder from where they were told they were forbidden to go, because beyond that point it would be the end of life for them because of the enemies, because they would find them, capture them, whatever. And Julia and Winston would find out that it was a lush, beautiful greenery. Everything looked free. And I think that they heard birds and saw animals, but I'm not sure. But it looked more beautiful. It looked more. So my gist of things that are going down right now is that if they do this, they're going to eradicate us from the internet. We're going to get allotted internet. It's going to be stymied. We might not get full internet. We may not talk to outsiders. So outside the 15-minute city is what I'm saying. The wall may be put up on us if this goes through, so we won't have contact outside of our 15-minute city. That means you could talk to a spy and think it's a friend, and you won't have contact with people that are beyond. If this happens, you won't have contact with people that you know that are beyond that 15-minute city if this happens. In my experience, you know that if you have listened to me, I corresponded for some while with somebody from Persia. I'm using the original name, right? You know what that is, right? I hope you do. Maybe you know geography and you know history, so you know what I'm saying. But anyways, I did correspond, and they got into my mail, right? They were very savage. They ripped it apart, and then they threw it back, and I got it like ripped up. It was so obvious. They weren't even hiding it, that they went through it. We exchanged for a good so many months. It might have been almost a year. And that might have been the third package, not letter, that we would exchange with each other. It was the only one that was so violently treated, but it was the Christmas one, right? Anyway, long story short, not my story, okay, about the 15-minute cities, right? So if they are going to do the UBI, they want to fully control us. They don't want us questioning our origins. They don't want to have us questioning our source, you know, like our religion, or because they want to attach us to what they want us to believe. We lose everything if we don't do what they want. Somebody said in a nice little term, they said, so they want us to be good little NPCs. I don't know that this is life. I mean, no free will, no free effing will. I'm sorry. It just rubs me so wrong. Also, another story that's kind of like floating into my mind space right now is children. I've said this before, 𝗂𝗿𝗶𝗁 did, children of men, because they have done everything they can and they have purposely done it. And that's why the egg is also tantamount to the beginning of this particular term. You know, the fertility. And I did say, and I want to speak on that a little bit more before I go. Fertility, well, fertilizer, okay? If you don't have the right food, and if you have food that's going to kill people and sperm, eggs, then you can't sustain a Homo sapien colony, right? You can't sustain even Adam and Eve. I mean, there would be no sustaining, right? So, I mean, I'm saying like a man and a woman, right? Who could procreate, but ostensibly they can't if they don't have the right thing going on with their body. So anyways, the land is the same thing. Our farmers are having such destitution now. Things are going bad. They're going south. And the fertilizer is supposed to come through the Strait of Hormuz, but I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. It's getting shut down definite because of what this creature's done. So it's all by design. Nothing has happened by happenstance or his stupidity. Some people think it's just him. The thing is that they keep on saying the word BOMB. They did not go to the bargaining table. It shows you to your face. They lied, and they've lied every moment. They have been carrying demons. Okay, you can't dispute it. I know. Just sit with it for a bit, okay? You can laugh at me all you want to. They're carrying demons. He is carrying some big ones, okay? They are plotting on Mexico, Cuba. They're looking at Turkey next. Like I said, they're planning on putting us in our own little places. They're hobbling us. They're hoping that the military will be disembodied, you know, like ended and or maimed and sent back. Maybe not. The food is not enough to give them sustenance to do what they're doing for the Navy. And Navy is the one, I think, of the companies that usually can afford to become a little heavier than the other two because they're on water. And, you know, when you think about, you know, like whales and, you know, water life, right, that are mammal, generally they have a little more padding to them. So I don't know that they're as strict with Navy. I think Navy can be a little chunkier. So this is going to be very dire unless they've got some that can, like, their bodies would live off of their own, you know, how starvation mode hits in, right? Because if they're very active and they're not getting enough calories, this is crucial to their sustaining whatever they're going through. And this isn't supposed to be as heavy as it is, but I'm sorry, I haven't had much to say until now, but all of this manifesto thing hit me hard. And I went back to watching Lost, and all of this is coming back. And these are shows you might want to like look into that I'm mentioning. This is how powerful it is. My one son, he's really, really, really keen on the cards, the tarot, and he knew when I got the pendulum And he knew that when I got the downloads and asked the questions before I even got my pendulum and cards, he was like coming at me and he was dive bombing me because he knew we were on to something we needed to look into. And so therefore, yeah, he is aware that I had something I needed to do here. So it's like my guides are on task. They're keeping them privy, my boys. So I am going to leave it here very soon. I'm almost done. I'm winding down. The channel is going to get a little more skinny. So as maybe I hope I am too, but not by force. Okay. But ladies, if you're in the USA, batten down the hatches. There are some things I've learned and I don't like what I'm hearing. So if we don't get this change soon, the dark ages are upon us, and women, we are on the chopping block soon. I don't mean necessarily our lives, but our way of life is changing drastically. So think about this. Do you see the scarf she wears? And you know how some don't show their hair anywhere? Okay, they're looking at treating us like we're Mormons. And when I say that, I did get a full report from somebody sharing what the plan is. If there's a documentation that's out there, and I don't remember, I think it's the Heritage people who put it out. They're going to follow it, okay? So this could have been another manifesto written by a non-corpus creature, okay? They have plans for us to not wear shorts, not wear tank tops. We have to wear something to cover our NIMPPLEs. This does not go on men. Men don't have to worry about this. It's only on women. They are going to not let us like have our clavicles be seen. If you ever saw The English Patient, you'll understand that some men, especially if in times of more conservatism, they will see the clavicle as a very sensual place, which it probably is, right, to most men. Anyway, so anything. So if you have like a tank top that you're wearing because it's hot and they allow the tank top, then if you open your arm because you're hot, you should not be able to see under the shirt, like the bra should not show. This is how severe it's getting. I did not imagine I would live in this time. I'm only grateful that I'm the age I am, but I'm horrified for our younger women. I think I threw out the video that I had the dream on, but I think I should probably repreface it here since it's germane. I had a dream and I read on 8-9 months ago. It might still be out there, but I think I threw it out. That they were capturing young women, the JE kind of style age, right? And then up into the under 20 group, maybe. They were capturing them like the Handmaid's Tale, and they were putting them in what seemed to me to be a tower. Something that seemed, and it could be that they've invaded like places that are like not, still used and they're still useful, kind of how they did with the sane asylums in the day, right? Which they're planning on going that route too, which the crazies are running this place right now. I mean, we're beyond One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Oh, another thing I want to say, speaking of which, Jack Nicholson, the star of that film, was also the star of the 1988 version of Batman. Okay, so it was Danny Elfman. I think that was the one. Danny Elfman. Who was the one that did that one? He's music. I'm trying to think of the name. Zemeckis? No, it was a famous director that did it, but of that day. And he did the 1989, both with Michael Keaton, my favorite versions, mind you. And I grew up with the cartoon, or not the cartoon, the Adam West one, and Burt Ward, I think. Anyway, so there's about 3 or 4 specific pivotal moments from the 1988 movie that the most demonic invaded entity from DC, okay, that one, you know who I'm talking about, right? He borrowed certain lines from 88's Batman. He said, "You're fired," that come from The Apprentice, okay, so Apprentice was after. What come first, the egg or the chicken, right? Also, he said, "I like you better when you're dead," or something like that. He laughed about a couple people who died, and he said something about they're dead. "I like them better dead," or something like that. Then there was a couple other things he said, and I'm trying to remember it all. And also, I had a Mandela effect on that film. I'm thinking about purchasing it in DVD format because I have Blu-ray. I didn't realize about it in Blu-ray so many years ago. So it's been in Blu-ray in my house for a long time, and I hadn't watched it for some long while. but couldn't play it in the DVD player. I'm like, oh snap. Anyway, I think I need to try to get a copy of it in DVD just to see. But the thing is, they could have changed it there too. I'm having a Mandela. I remember Jerry Hall. Some of you might know that used to be Mick Jagger's girlfriend. She was the girlfriend when the film started to Jack. Jack was the Joker. Okay. Anyway, she was his girlfriend, and then he tried these. It kind of feels like Ozempic. Now, if you look at those girls' faces to Charlie's Angels on the thumbnail I have, the strange comic book twisted like curves to their mouth, same kind of thing that went on in that version of Batman, okay? There was a formula that he concocted, and people were taking it for a beauty agent or longevity, I forget what. But anyways, Jerry Hall had succumbed to some kind of, her face being stuck, and so he gave her a mask to wear. And it was like a crystal or glass mask or something like that. So you could see through it a little bit, but she wasn't so crazy looking, right? Anyway, in the version I just saw the other day with my husband, you see him come to Kim Basinger, and he puts it on the fireplace mantle, and he talks about her having a terrible accident. So we didn't see it on the TV, on the movie. But I remember, and I might have said this in a prior video, I might have told my mother this, I don't know. I think it was her. I remember seeing him walk outside of the room, the office, what have you, where there's stairs. And she was on the stairs, and he was telling her goodbye, have a good shopping trip or something. I forget what. And he turns to go back to the office, and then he says, just a minute. He says, I think I forgot something. And then he walks back in after you hear a big crash. So you actually hear him push her down the stairs. This harkens to two things. One, most of us know that this is allegedly, okay, but most of us know in our bones, right? Allegedly, that his first wife would not take the stairs, but she was found fallen to her end at the stairs at her penthouse or her mansion, whatever it was. And so it was much like how Prince was found in his elevator, kind of like that, kind of bizarre, right? Anyway, I doubt that she did end naturally by her own fall. She had professed that she did never take the stairs to many people. Kind of like how I say I would never end my life. When somebody says something like that, you listen to them, okay? Anyways, the other incident was his character is modeled a lot on Kevin Spacey's, which is a redo of Britain's version, okay? House of Cards. I think they called it House of Cards. It was on Netflix. It was Kevin Spacey and Robin, the one that used to be married to Sean Penn, Robin something Wright, the Princess Bride. She grew up and she got into serious stuff, okay? Anyway, I think I remember there was like a person on his cabinet or something that he was not seeing eye to eye on because she would not bend. So think about how this character is now. You do it my way or else it's the end. And I don't mean that you're getting a pink slip, but she didn't end. That character didn't. She did live, but he pushed her down the stairs entirely. And I think that she was not expected to live. But that happened, I think, before Ivanka would pass, because I think Ivanka passed in the teens. Maybe before COVID? I don't know. I don't have all the dates before me. I'm not looking right now. But anyway, let me just see. Was it before C19? I got the devil. Oh my gosh. And you know what's really bad is this deck actually has him as the devil. That is so rotten to the core, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, so there's a lot of information you might want to check out if you have a copy or can see the 1988 version of Batman. Very telling. 89 wasn't so much as so, but I think that he identifies with Jack Nicholson, maybe more so. Jack Nicholson, on an offshoot information I could share with you as well, had a less than a mile piece of property, I believe it is, from Hugh Hefner. They both had trafficking. Yeah, they both had trafficking tunnels below them. Tell me that's not weird. I mean, I'm not saying this about Jack. I don't know. But he was friendly with some of these groups. I don't know. also, I'm on the edge of could we have been punked? Could things have been a lie so they could like implement all these digital things? So that one video I put out, yeah, I'm still not decided on that because they would sucker punch us any way they could, right? This is how it works. And the devil is a liar. And so if I was going to go with this biblically, I would say we're actually looking like demon possession to that level, right? But as I said, I think that he likes to host many of them and he wants to pick and choose which ones he wants in him. I'm going to leave it here. I've talked a lot. I'm thirsty and I hope you're doing well. I hope you're getting whatever information you need as well as rest. And I hope you're doing good when it comes to the home front, you know, being on the ready for the in case, what have you, and being on your toes. Just don't nullify anything you hear or see. Put it under your vest and mull over it, because not everything has to be true, and that goes with what I'm saying too. And it could be, and maybe it won't be seen as true for some while. Sometimes they don't reveal things till after we have pooh-poohed them for a while, and we have sealed our own fate maybe, and didn't believe something we should have. Deja vu. I'm out for now. Be well, be safe, and aware.